Part 15. I have the option of love in the starry sky. Author, Lao Cha Shugu. Chapter 141. Bo Chang also made inferences. That is, because of that ancient coin. It is said to bring luck to the holder. If you remove ancient coins, Bo often uses stealing skills, and the random range is particularly large. You won't always be able to touch the underwear of the opposite sex. Precious treasure. Fake Tingyun tilted her head slightly. She reached out her hand and touched the back of her butt, finally confirming one thing. Her briefs were gone. The next moment, Bo Chang handed the super flashlight to scene next to him, and then used both hands. It's like displaying a treasure. Straighten a pair of red lace briefs. Show it to the other person. King K and Bailu were both stunned, not expecting the treasure in his mouth. It's actually briefs. Bailu exclaimed, Bo Chang is so amazing. Scene nodded seriously. As expected of Bo Chang, he easily accomplished what we couldn't do. I heard these two compliments. Ching K was speechless, and Walter Yang and Dan Hung couldn't bear to look at him. The reason why Bo Chang did this was very simple. The fake Tingyun was going to give him a hard time anyway, so it was better to stimulate him again. Speaking of which, when I saw the briefs in my hand, a big stone fell in Bo Chang's heart. He now knew that the fake Tingyun was most likely a woman. It doesn't matter whether it's beautiful or not. At least Bo Chang didn't stroke the male's tail last night. Fake Tingyun said, You. At this moment, the system's voice sounded again. The romance option is turned on. Option 1, shake your briefs vigorously to draw a circle, and say, come and grab it if you can. Completion reward, get random props, ranging from matches to star destroyers. Note, such props will. Option 2, put the briefs on your face, take a deep breath, and say, ah, it feels good. Completion reward, obtain the skill, Nymphomaniac. The damage caused to characters of the opposite sex must be a critical hit. The damage done to you by a character of the opposite sex is also a critical hit. Option 3, put the briefs on your head and say, the righteous train crew will definitely defeat you, the bad guy, and successfully rescue Miss Tingyun. Completion reward, obtain skills, Partners of Justice, and fight against the evil camp when attacking an enemy. The damage caused must be a critical hit. Chapter 175, I am inseparable from evil. The options this time are different from last time. It was all negative just now, but this time it was all positive. The reward for option 1 is still the familiar lottery. Options 2 and 3 are both skills, and both are damage increasing skills. This type of skill, Bo Chang actually has 2 of them. The foster father is here and the royal sister killer. Now 2 new skills, Nymphomaniac and Messenger of Justice. No matter how he looked at it, Bo Chang felt that the latter one was better. The skill of Nymphomaniac is a double-edged sword. It is simply a model of injuring the enemy 1,000 times and damaging oneself 800, which is not very good. And the options are too perverted. Even a pervert like me feels perverted. JPG. Certainly. Option 3 is not much better, but the rewards given are really good. Bo often wondered. The fake Tingyun lurking in front of her is most likely an enemy from the evil camp. Judging from the system options, she looks very strong. Bo Chang also needs the skill of Messenger of Justice to strengthen his strength to fight against evil. As long as you have the 2 skills of Royal Sister Killer and Messenger of Justice, Bo Chang can call himself an older bad woman killer. It's a pity that I have to put the briefs on my head first. Wearing this, I can gain great power. But wearing this thing in public, it's such a shame. The reward for option 3 is good, but the things that need to be done are a bit hard to accept. In contrast, option 1 is much more normal. Which one should I choose? After struggling in his mind, Bo Chang suddenly had a flash of inspiration and thought to himself, by the way, the system didn't say whose head the briefs should be put on. Can I put them on Bai Lu's head? This is considered a small bug in the options. Bo Chang felt that even if he put briefs on Bai Lu's head, she wouldn't say anything. After some heartbeat, Bo Chang gave up the idea. Don't mess around. Wouldn't it be embarrassing if the system doesn't recognize it and has to put a trap on you? 10, 9, 8. The system has started counting down. Bo Chang listened to the voice deep in his heart and remained silent for 3 seconds before finally making a choice without hesitation. Option 3. Now. Bo Chang wants to rush again. Take a deep breath, like Sun Wukong wearing a golden hoop. Bo Chang looked at death as if he were dead. He put the red lace briefs in his hand on his head and said, "The righteous train crew will definitely defeat the bad guy like you and successfully rescue Miss Ting Yun." The scene was silent. Everyone watched blankly as Bo Chang put the red lace briefs on his head, like a tattered hat. That scene was a bit eye-catching. Fake Ting Yun was so shocked by Bo Chang that he couldn't speak. He just opened his mouth in vain, completely forgetting what he should say. One thing to say. As the extermination king who has traveled many worlds and destroyed countless civilizations, Huan Hao. Fake Ting Yun can be said to be well informed. Even in her long life, Bo Chang's behavior today can be called quite explosive. Even Ting Yun felt a little ashamed. After all, those were the briefs I had just worn. Why is this person like this? You stole briefs and interrupted me, but you still do such a shameless thing. Don't I, the Lord of Extermination, have no face? No. I'm so angry, I have to do it. Give him a slap, otherwise it will be difficult to relieve the hatred in my heart. Fake Ting Yun's round, pearl-like toes clasped slightly against the ground. Although there was nothing on his face, Huan's heart was actually burning with fire. The gentle breeze blew up and brought up light yellow sand dust on the ground, taking away a trace of awkward silence. March 7th was stunned for a moment and said, "Well, Bo Chang, is there a possibility, I mean it is possible, that you look more like a bad guy now?" Bo Chang. Bo Chang complained in his heart, "You don't need to remind me about this." The next moment, the system's voice sounded. "Rewards are being distributed, congratulations on getting the skill, Partner of Justice when fighting against enemies of the evil camp, the damage caused will definitely be a critical hit." After getting the reward, Bo Chang immediately threw the red lace briefs on his head to the ground and said, "Nonsense. I am sworn in with evil." Well said. Star immediately started clapping. Bai Lu was still immersed in the incident of Bo Chang wearing briefs on his head, and for a while he didn't understand the reason why the other party did this. Is this the custom of his hometown? Putting the enemy's briefs on his head as a sign of humiliation, the little Lolita of the Dragon Clan was thinking wildly, what a strange custom. Kincaid thought in his heart, I thought something was wrong with Bo Chang before, but now it seems, he is indeed a pervert. Walter Young didn't want Bo Chang to continue messing around, so he tapped the ground with the crutch in his hand. There was a loud bang. It spread throughout the venue, like a hammer hitting the heart, bringing everyone back to their senses. Now, everyone is in a training venue in the martial arts hall, and there are several staff outside looking at this place through the tempered glass. Because Bo Chang had given instructions before. Therefore, the highest level of defense has been deployed in the martial arts hall in an attempt to trap Fake Ting Yun inside. Bo Chang, stop making trouble, let's talk about business. Walter Yang pushed up his black-rimmed glasses. First of all, who are you, and secondly, where did you get the real Xing Yun, and finally, what is your purpose? I suggest you tell the truth and don't hide it, so as not to suffer any physical pain. Walter Young tightened his grip on the crutch in his hand. This black and red crutch is Uncle Yang's weapon, named the Star of Eden, and has the ability to manipulate gravity. Walter Young had used it many times before. Bo Chang was familiar with it. Come back from your irritation. Hearing what the other party said, Huan Long just felt it was funny. She took a deep breath, stabilized her emotions, and said softly, "If you, my benefactors, want to know the answer, then you should defeat the little girl first." As soon as he finished speaking, Fake Stop Yun slapped the bone-gathering fan in his hand. In an instant, a strong wind came. I have the option of love in the starry sky. Author, Lao Cha Shugu. Chapter 142. The cyan wind formed a huge sharp blade visible to the naked eye, and the soil on the ground was completely blown away. Mixed with the cyan wind, it rushed toward Bo Chang and others overwhelmingly. The scene was horrifying. If he is hit unprepared, the consequences will be disastrous. The corners of Walter Yang's eyes twitched slightly. It's really surprising that the opponent has such power with just a few gestures. Get behind me. Walter Yang holds the Star of Eden high. Plan to use a pseudo-black hole to block this wave of attacks. When Ba Kang and others heard this, they hid behind Uncle Yang without hesitation, and each showed his own skills. Be prepared to withstand the attack of false clouds. Chapter 176 The Order of Destruction. March 7 put a shield on himself, and then shot an arrow at the fake Ting Yun. Bo Chang blocked the cyber-flying sword in front of him, raised his hand at the same time, and fired a high-power dragon explosion towards the fake Ting Yun. King K took out the divination plate that he used for divination. It was said to be a hexagram plate, but in fact it had been transformed into a card table by her. Don't panic, let me play a game first. As King K said this, a few cards popped up on the chessboard. Why haven't you touched it yet? Try it again. Everyone who has experienced the trip to Tapuz knows this. King K is not still thinking about fishing in an emergency. But because this is King K's fighting style. As long as you touch 4 identical cards, the strength of the Mahjong girl can be greatly improved. The specific principle is unclear. Anyway, it is related to the art of divination. This kind of casual approach makes King K's output extremely unstable. It takes a long time to prepare for a powerful attack. It's easy for everyone to finish playing. The fact that King K is still touching her is in line with her standards of conduct. On the battlefield, Bai Lu, Dan Heng, and Xing also took action. Faced with fake Ting Yun's attack, it can be said that they all showed their special abilities. Then, the attacks of Bo Chang and others were swallowed up by the strong wind. It can only slightly weaken its power. The final key resistance still depends on Walter Yang's pseudo-black hole. There was a loud bang. The strong wind collided with the pseudo-black hole, and the strong wind swirled and disappeared like water flow. Most of its power has been absorbed, being mercilessly swallowed by a pseudo-black hole. It didn't make much of a splash. Rao is so. The defensive formations around the martial arts hall were still shaken by the aftermath and made an overwhelmed sound. Countless talismans flickered on and off, as if they were about to break at any time. The staff's eyes widened again. It was obvious that the beautiful foxwoman just lightly slapped the folding fan. How could this happen? If it happens again, I'm afraid even the martial arts hall's formation will be unable to hold on. What kind of monsters are these? People in the martial arts hall were in shock. Realizing that the situation was not good, some people were already preparing to run away. Otherwise, once the defensive formation in the martial arts hall is damaged, don't even think about running away. The staff member who agreed to Bo Chang and others' actions here has begun to regret it. If I had known earlier, I should have thrown these out. You shouldn't be greedy for those small amounts of money. The venue where Bo Chang and others were staying was the largest in the martial arts hall, covering an area of about 500 square meters. High walls were built around it. There is also a translucent protective cover on the top. Even if it rains, it will not have any impact on the environment inside. The wave of attacks ends. Everyone stood in the field unscathed. The area nearby was in a mess, and the entire ground was turned over. If it weren't for the protection of the formation, the earth may have cracked open. Seeing this, she pretended to be Tingyun and gently shook her bone-gathering fan. She smiled sweetly and said, "It's not bad, then let me see how many of your benefactors can catch the moves." Walter Young looked serious. The enemy's strength is beyond expectation. If I had known that Ji Tingyun was so powerful, I should have lured him to Shen's mansion and turned against him. Unfortunately, it's too late to say anything now. Are you, the messenger of destruction? Walter Young used the power from the opponent. I can vaguely guess some. When Bo Chang heard the sentence, he only felt it too thick. Is there any mistake? How come Tingyun is the envoy? How can this be fun? Faced with Walter Yang's doubts, Ji Tingyun neither admitted nor denied. She talked about another topic. Let all the benefactors wander around the Luofu immortal boat. It is indeed a very troublesome matter. Since we have broken up now, then, everyone should stay. This place is suitable for the burial place. Don't blame the little girl for being cruel. My benefactors discovered it too early. Originally, I wanted to discover the secrets of Bo Chang and let you all taste the pain of loss and despair. Slowly collapse. Unexpectedly, fate is unpredictable. Now that my identity has been exposed, even if it doesn't suit the aesthetics of a little girl to take action personally, I can only go on stage to show my shame. Alas, the little girl has no choice but to do this. Fake Tingyun said vicious words in a gentle tone. Ba Kang and the others were ready for the battle. Bai Lu couldn't stand the fake Tingyun's chattering anymore. Ba Kang. This time I have to transform. The familiar dazzling white light surged from the body of the little dragon Loli, and her body quickly grew larger and developed into the shape of a giant dragon. The black-haired boy no longer had the idea of stopping it. The opponent showed great power with just one blow. If it weren't for Walter Yang's pseudo-black hole that absorbed most of the power, the entire martial arts hall would probably have exploded. And this. It was just that the fake Tingyun gently waved the bone-gathering fan. Bai Lu must have a giant dragon to help now. Otherwise, how can she fight? Fake Tingyun narrowed her eyes slightly. She looked at the little dragon Loli, and said, "Immortal Dragonborn, if I get rid of you here, it can be regarded as getting rid of a great enemy." After that, Fake Tingyun launched another attack, and she danced less than 10 meters away from Ba Kang and others. The graceful dance moves carried a green gust of wind. The bone-gathering fan in his hand moved in a mysterious trajectory in the air. At this moment, the strong wind came from all directions, and the entire martial arts hall began to shake, completely disrupting everyone's formation. Although the dance presented by the Foxman was beautiful, it made people smell the breath of death. Everyone was in a mess in the wind. The combat power of the envoy level was despairing. She must be stopped. Walter Yang fired at full power. He flew in the air, holding the Star of Eden high in his hand. Nearly 10 pseudo-black holes that swallowed light spread out in all directions, forcibly stabilizing the strong wind around the martial arts hall. Prevent the attack of the fake Tingyun from causing greater damage. Although this place is remote, it is still inhabited and cannot be ignored. Compared with Walter Yang's concerns, the fake Tingyun has no taboos, and her attack intensity increases at a speed visible to the naked eye. The martial arts hall, which covers an area of 5,000 square meters, is falling apart. The defensive formation was like a piece of thin paper, extremely fragile under the attack of the fake Tingyun. Bai Lu, who had completely transformed into a giant dragon. Her body had exceeded the scope that the venue could accommodate, and she let out a dragon roar. Everyone was dizzy. Countless water flows appeared out of thin air, forming a huge hollow water ball with a diameter of 1 kilometer, trapping everyone in it. Countless thunders fell from it, fighting and entangled with the strong wind. "Let's go together. Dan Heng just said this. Bo Chang originally planned to stay at the feet of the giant dragon Bai Lu and receive his blessing. Seeing the cold-faced Xiao Qinglong and seeing rushing out together, Bo Chang really couldn't sit still. March, you and Zillowa support us from behind. Chapter 177 The Real Battlefield, Reward Plus Update. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I have the option of love in the starry sky. Author, Lao Cha Shugu. Chapter 143. Bo Chang did not order Ching Ke. The reason is very simple. Even if Bo Chang did not say it, Ching Ke would definitely stay at Bai Lu's feet to be protected as a mahjong girl with long-range attacks. She is still drawing cards now. There is no need to worry about her. It is 11 Lu Wa who needs attention. Compared with Xing, San Yuqi and others, her strength is slightly inferior. If it is against some soldiers, it is okay. Slightly stronger enemies will cause life-threatening to 11 Lu Wa. Walter Yang and the dragon Bai Lu both control the field. This stabilized the surrounding environment and prevented it from getting out of control further. According to the performance of the person in front of him, Walter Yang felt that the fake Tingyun was most likely the messenger of destruction, but unfortunately he didn't know which one it was. She had no intention of introducing herself. As long as we can hold this guy back, when the general of Luofu arrives, she will definitely not be his opponent. Walter Yang's calculations were very loud. Just like the fake Tingyun wanted Bo Chang and others to be buried here, Walter Yang did not intend to let the other party go. An extinction lord lurking on the Luofu immortal boat was too dangerous and had to be eliminated as soon as possible. No wonder the Star Corps hunter said at that time. If the Star Dome train did not come to support, the Luofu immortal boat would suffer heavy losses. A great lord with a great reputation in the entire universe. His strength is first class and powerful. If there were no giant dragon Bailu and Danhan around him, Walter Yang would probably not have the idea of delaying the other party now. Instead, he would find an opportunity to take everyone away. Danhan, Bakane, and Xing rushed towards the fake Tingyun. Go. Bakane was one step slower than Danhan and Xing. So, he aimed directly at the fake Tingyun and suddenly threw the gun of oath. The bright tip of the gun rushed towards the enemy. Fake Tingyun did not sit and wait for death. She raised a smile and said, "It's just a group of ants resisting stubbornly. Let me deal with Bailu first, and then deal with you." Looking at the little dragon Loli who turned into a dragon, fake Tingyun's eyes were filled with greed. She kept it to herself because of Bakane and Bailu. Otherwise, Jianmu should have grown last night. Of course. There were also some other factors that caused the fake Tingyun's plan to be postponed. These things were also a chain reaction caused by Bakane and others. The seductive green figure came to kill. The blue spear like a meteor was easily avoided. After turning around behind, it continued to kill the fake Tingyun. But the speed was completely unmatched. In a face-to-face encounter, the fake Tingyun repelled Danhan and Xing one after another, and came to Bakane like teleportation. Looking at the other party's raised big Baido, Bakane was well prepared, and he used his new moves without fear. The second-rated power of the dragon spell. At close range, Bo Chang sprayed out countless burning red lotuses, and the scene was enchanting and beautiful. It also contained the breath of destruction. Boom! The fake Tingyun was covered by the red lotus and turned into a blazing super fireball. The surrounding space was distorted by the high temperature. After knowing that the opponent might be a Lingxi, Bo Chang did not think that his attack could cause much damage to the enemy. But at least he successfully blocked it and did not let the big Bidu hit him. The fake Tingyun was stopped by the surging red lotus and could not move forward, and Bo Chang took the opportunity to retreat. Prevent the enemy's next round of attack. To be honest, Bo Chang was able to stop the fake Ting Yun. Walter Yang and the giant dragon Bala contributed greatly. The current battlefield seems to be Bo Chang, Xing, and Dan Heng fighting against the fake Ting Yun. In fact, the real battlefield is in the sky. The blue hurricane is attacking Walter Yang and his derivative creations, many pseudo-black holes, all the time. The hollow water ball of the giant dragon Bailu limits the scope of the battle, blocks the hurricane from affecting the outside world, and triggers countless purple thunders to fall from the sky and fight with the blue hurricane. Countless purple dragons and blue dragons entangled together, biting each other. The battle was extremely tragic. While the giant dragon Bailu was passionately fighting with the fake Ting Yun, he was also using water to send away the nearby immortal boat people to protect their safety. After all, the hollow water ball with a diameter of 1 kilometer has covered several streets in Changelshan. It blocked out the sky and trapped a large number of immortal boat people in it. The battlefield in the sky. It is completely beyond the reach of Bo Chang and others. The confrontation of pure energy is even more dangerous. Fake Ting Yun is multitasking. In the case of fighting Walter Yang and the giant dragon Bailu, he can also repel Dan Heng and Xing with one move. It can be seen how strong he is. Bo Chang can only delay the opponent's pace and has no confidence in causing harm to him. Unless I use my full strength. Whether it is Dragon Blast or Red Lotus, Bo Chang can temporarily increase its power without limit. How much damage it causes depends entirely on how long Bo Chang's physical strength bar is. But in this case, it is irrational to push all the chips out. In fact, Bo Chang's previous shot was not weak either. In the past, the physical strength consumed has long been in the category of a full-strength attack. It's just that Bo Chang's physique is now 48 times stronger than before, so he doesn't feel anything. The blazing fireball came quickly. It also went away quickly. The strong wind that protected the fake Ting Yun spread around and immediately dispersed the flames. Let it go out. How is it possible, you can actually hurt me? The fake Ting Yun stood there, staring blankly at his own body. That perfect body had been burned by the flames. The soft hair on his body was also burned a lot. It looked like a cat that had just been rescued from the fire scene. As the messenger of destruction, the lord of extinction. Even if this body was just casually fabricated. Under the strict defense of Huanlong, it would never be so easily injured by the ants in her eyes. Even if he was injured, it should be Walter Yang, or the giant dragon Bailu. How could he be given by Bo Chang? But the fact is now, Huanlong's wind wall defense was broken by Bo Chang's fire lotus. Seeing the embarrassed fake Ting Yun, Bo Chang was a little surprised, but soon, he thought of the reason. The messenger of justice and the killer of the queen, double critical hit. These two skills allow Bo Chang to deal explosive damage when facing a bad woman older than himself. Even if the envoy dared to resist Bo Chang's attack, he would be injured. What's more, Huanlong is not a particularly strong envoy. This body is not carefully made. Think about it this way, is it possible for me to kill her with a full-strength attack? Bo Chang imagined in his mind. Curious, he couldn't help but interrupt the system for the first time in a long time. After combining the messenger of justice and the killer of the queen, how much damage did I increase? Critical hit means damage x2, and the superposition of the two is x4, so the damage you just caused to her has quadrupled. When the bounty was opened, the data was monthly tickets, 625. Recommendation tickets, 9,885. Rewards, 4,552. Blades, 359. The current data is monthly tickets, 840. Recommendation tickets, 11,209. Rewards, 4,552. I have the option of love in the starry sky. Author, Lao Cha Shugu. Chapter 144. Blade, 492. A total of 4 chapters are owed for monthly tickets, 2 chapters for recommended tickets, and 2 chapters for Blades, a total of 8 chapters. Return 2 chapters of Blade and 1 chapter of monthly pass. Still owe 5 chapters. The author returns slowly. Chapter 178. A righteous gang fight. Bo Chang was a little surprised by the response of love options, and then he muttered in his heart, "Why is this only 4 times?" Then the system became unresponsive. But something is better than nothing. Bo Chang didn't say anything more. And a 4-fold improvement is indeed not too small. It is like raising a short man of 1 meter to 4 meters. If he is placed among the crowd, can he still be considered a short man? It would not be an exaggeration to say that he is a pure giant. He can dunk at will whenever he goes to play basketball. It seems to work. Confidence ignited in Bo Chang's heart. If faced with other envoys, he might be helpless. The winning hand can only be placed on Walter Yang and the giant dragon Bailu. But facing the older bad woman, and with the help of Walter Yang and the giant dragon Bailu, Bo Chang was not unable to fight. Just as his mind was racing, the Spear of Oath struck again, striking hard at Fake Tingyun. It's a pity that it's the same as before. Fake Tingyun casually waved the bone-gathering fan in her hand. She used her skillful power to easily knock away the menacing Oath Spear and let it fly a long distance, in front of an enemy whose strength far exceeds his own. The 100% hit rate of the Oath Spear was basically nothing. It can only keep attacking like a tracking missile until it hits the target, otherwise it will not stop. Bo Chang simply took back the oath gun and held it in his hand again. "Haha, my dear benefactor, it seems that the little girl is careless. I didn't expect you to be stronger than I thought. Huanlong's idea is simple. Defeat Bo Chang, Dan Heng, and Xin who blocked the road. Then go straight to Bailu. Be the first to deal with the immortal Dragonborn." Dan Heng and Xin were indeed unable to block Huan Hu's attack and were repelled in one blow. Even though this Lord of Extermination used a randomly fabricated body, his strength was slightly lower than usual. It is necessary to repel Dan Heng and Xin. Still very simple. They had no ability to stop Huanlong. She could come and leave whenever she wanted, just like going to a public toilet. The only thing that Huang didn't expect was Bo Chang was able to break through his own defenses, and the power of that blow was far beyond that of an ordinary Fate Walker. It can already pose a threat to the order. It's not like Huan who has never observed the strength of Bo Chang and others. Except for Walter Yang and the giant dragon Bailu, no one else should pose a threat to him. Even Bo Chang sprayed red lotus flowers in his face. Huang just smiled slightly. She could feel that that kind of power could not break through her defense at all. She only needed to calmly disperse the flames, give the opponent a big pussy with a ladylike temperament, and knock him away. God knows why it hurts so much when Bo Chang hits himself. If Huanwu knew the 2 skills of Messenger of Justice and Royal Sister Killer, will definitely shout, "WC! There's something wrong." Bo Chang had not forgotten his true purpose. He said, "Hand over Zhen Tingyun, and I can spare your life." "Spare my life? My benefactor is so bold." Fake Tingyun narrowed her eyes slightly, her body was burned by the flames, and ugly burns appeared on her body surface. Even directly carbonized due to high temperature. The originally gorgeous dress also had many holes. Thanks to Fake Tingyun's quick reaction, if she had been a little later, the red lotus sprayed by Bo Chang would have directly burned her body to ashes. Looking at the somewhat ragged Fake Xingyun, Bo Chang suddenly hesitated, wondering what his current actions would be if this envoy took over Zhen Tingyun's body. Wouldn't it hurt the other party? The little lady is just careless. Fake Tingyun shook his head slightly. "I have to be more serious next time. After all, the little lady has to get rid of this place before the general from Luofu arrives." I don't have that much time to play with you. The battle in heaven is still going on. No need to see it with the naked eye at all. Huanhu can control the hurricane from a long distance to attack the two strongest people present. Just like Bo Chang uses invisible hands. Let Walter Yang and the giant dragon Bai Luoxia take care of the others, and they also attracted most of the firepower of fake Ting Yun. If not, Bo Chang could not break through the envoy's defense so easily. Compared to ordinary Fate Walkers, the power of the envoys is suffocating, and the strongest among them can even burn the galaxy with ease. Seeing that fake Ting Yun had no idea of answering his question, Bo Chang also had a headache. Xing and Danhan came from the side and immediately launched an attack on fake Ting Yun. Including March 7th, Zillowa and Kinke all started to provide remote support. I saw the Flying Emperor Yuan Qianjiao card. Bo Chang knew that Kinke had finally touched it. Mahjong Girl's blow. The power is pretty good, but for fake Ting Yun, it's just scratching an itch. The battle started again. Fake Ting Yun single-handedly faced the pioneering team, as well as Kinke from Tabo Division and Bailu from Danding Division. This battle is destined to remain in the history books of Luofu Immortal Boat. After all, the fake Ting Yun in front of him is suspected to be a certain Extinction Lord. The fight lasted only 10 seconds. This place has turned into a ruin. If it weren't for the giant dragon Bailu controlling the hollow water ball to reduce the impact range of the battle, and Walter Yang suppressed the space here with 10 pseudo-black holes, I'm afraid that under the attack of the fake Ting Yun, the entire Changelshan will no longer exist. From the outside, this light blue water ball exudes a strong pressure, and it keeps emitting dazzling light. Such a battle is actually unfair to Bo Chang and others. Walter Yang and the giant dragon Bailu are both tied up. The righteous group fight did not exert its greatest power. Bo Chang joined forces with Xing and Dan Heng. The three of them held the fake Ting Yun tightly. Don't let it get close to the giant dragon Bailu. In order to control the situation and fight against the hurricane in the sky, the dragon Loli has obviously gone all out. She didn't even move her feet a few times and has been concentrating on fighting. The giant dragon Bailu, who just possessed powerful strength, was obviously not very used to it. Bo Chang and others naturally could not let the fake Ting Yun interfere with the dragon Loli. Walter Yang and the giant dragon Bailu joined forces. Only then could they control the situation. If one of them failed, Bo Chang knew that the other person would not be able to support it alone. In the delaying war, Bo Chang used all his means, such as the illusion of the raccoon cat, the invisible hand, the power of the monkey spell, the cyber flying sword. The support of Kinke, Zillowa, and March 7th also arrived from time to help them relieve some of the pressure. Walter Yang, who controlled 10 pseudo-black holes, looked down from above. Like a god, he kept strangling the blue hurricane that attacked him. The continuous attacks made people physically and mentally exhausted. But Walter Yang knew that he had to hold on. Dan Heng, how long are you going to hide your weakness? Hurry up and use your real strength. Chapter 179. He is just a child. Regarding the fact that the cold-faced little blue dragon has hidden power, both GZI and Walter Yang know it, only Sanyuki, Bo Chang, and others don't know. Dan Heng's position on the train group is guard. If he doesn't have some strength, how can he protect the Starry Sky train? It's just that Dan Heng doesn't intend to use that power. Unless it's absolutely necessary. Dan Heng will never use the forbidden power. The battle has been going on for a minute. Fake Ting Yun has always had the upper hand. But I have the option of love in the starry sky. Author, Lao Cha Shugu. Chapter 145. No matter what, fake Ting Yun couldn't defeat them. Xing and Danhan were repelled again and again, and rushed up again and again. Like an indestructible cockroach. Now fake Ting Yun's attention has been focused on Bo Chang. The long spear in the opponent's hand is really a headache. Even if Huanlong is serious enough. Even more energy and strength are mobilized to the close combat with Bo Chang and the other two. Unfortunately, still can't take down Bo Chang. In Huanlong's opinion, the difficulty of this guy has even surpassed the giant dragon Bailu and is about to catch up with Walter Yang. Damn, what's wrong with Bo Chang? Fake Tingyun's breathing accelerated slightly. It was not an easy thing to fight against so many powerful Fate Walkers alone. His moves are obviously weak and powerless. Why does it hurt so much when he hits me? Huanlong couldn't figure it out. To her, this matter was like a horror movie. Bo Chang became more and more confident and more powerful as he fought. At the beginning, Fake Tingyun was indeed unparalleled. Even Bo Chang didn't know how to deal with it. But as the time between him and the opponent increased, Bo Chang became more and more calm, and even exerted a strength beyond his usual level. The messenger of justice and the queen killer is so powerful, I feel that beating the destroyer is easier than beating the blade. Bo Chang couldn't help but say, don't you want to be more serious? It won't be like this. After a long time of attack, he couldn't take it down. Fake Tingyun was already a little annoyed, and was stimulated by this. Huanlong became even angrier. Just an ant. Fake Tingyun fanned the bone fan, and a purple electric current flew out of it, forming a ferocious purple dragon. Facing such an attack, Bo Chang didn't care, he directly sprayed out the fire lotus. There was only a crackling sound, and the lightning that Fake Tingyun had attracted was completely consumed, unable to cause any effect. But this was just a feint. The next moment, the Fake Tingyun jumped out of the attack range of the Red Lotus and flew towards Ba Kame from top to bottom. She looked like an Arctic fox hunting in the snow. Her action stunned Ba Kame. The Fake Tingyun, whose body was burned, looked a bit like Sylvie, the character from the previous game. They both had ugly scars on their bodies. Of course, these scars were also a kind of alternative embellishment on their enchanting bodies. The Fake Tingyun took advantage of the fire lotus blocking her vision. Then she jumped up and wanted to catch Ba Kame off guard. This was simply too outrageous. It even made people feel confused. Ba Kame looked at the fake fox lady flying towards him, raised his head, and said, "It's so reckless, isn't this Fake Tingyun afraid that I will spray her in the face again? The other party came so straight to kill just now." Ba Kame taught the Fake Tingyun a lesson. Now it's happening again? It seems that he has a short memory. Moreover, it was even more difficult to avoid the Fake Tingyun in midair. Bo Chang thought to himself, isn't this a good opportunity? Let me give you a big one. The power of the dragon spell ran wild in his body. Quickly concentrated on the head, and the tongue blossomed lotus. Hundreds of enchanting red lotuses flew out of Bo Chang's mouth. Like a gradually enlarging tongue of fire, it sprayed nearly 100 meters and covered a large area. Physical strength was rapidly lost. In this shot, Bo Chang consumed nearly one-third of his physical strength. Strive to seriously injure the Fake Tingyun. The surging and burning red lotus distorted the space, and even caused it to have dark cracks, spreading like a spider web. Such a fierce blow instantly covered the Fake Tingyun's whole body. She had no way to avoid it. At this moment, Xing, Dan Heng, and others shouted, "Be careful." The spider sense issued a strong warning. Bo Chang realized something, and his eyes moved slightly downward. He found that in the red lotus he had sprayed out to fight against the thunder dragon, a dark figure rushed out. The charred fox ears and bald tail, you can tell who it is at a glance. The tattered clothes on her body can hardly cover her body, but it's a pity that there is nothing good to see. The skin is burnt. There is no beauty at all. Feint to the east and attack in the west. Just when Bo Chang was thinking, the Fake Tingyun had arrived in front of him, less than 2 meters away from him. And Bo Chang was still looking up to attack the sky, and it was too late to fight back. I was careless, this crazy woman actually resisted my attack. Bo Chang reacted, but it was too late. Fortunately, another day had passed. Bo Chang's current teleportation ring has 2 energy bars, so he can try to escape. In fact, Bo Chang did so. A dazzling white light lit up. In order to escape quickly, Bo Chang chose to flash 10 meters to save his life. But he had just left. The fake Tingyun came to the position where Bo Chang flashed again. The two arrived almost at the same time, which made him a little crazy. Bo Chang's dangerous situation did not change at all. Seeing this, Bo Chang simply smashed the Spear of Oath down to exchange injuries for injuries. However, the fake Tingyun was faster, and the green light in her eyes was brighter. With a step forward and a punch, the power of wind and thunder was all concentrated here, making her fist turn purple. There was only a loud bang. The fake Tingyun's fist hit Bo Chang's chest, and the power of wind and thunder directly penetrated his body and gushed out from his back like a fairy scattering flowers. The purple light overflowed from behind him in large quantities, which was inexplicably beautiful. This punch was solid. Bo Chang flew backwards quickly, and even the Spear of Oath flew out of his hand. The fake Tingyun's attack was very strong, and even the power of wind and thunder penetrated his clothes through his body, leaving a big hole. But it did not cause any harm to Bo Chang. Because, at the beginning of the battle, Bo Chang had already taken out the elementary school student card from the system space. Like a famous sword, it helped him block the attack. The elementary school student card in his pocket turned into dust. A neutral sound full of disharmony sounded in the battlefield. Ding, elementary school student card. At the same time, a layer of faint white light appeared on Bo Chang's body, and there were moving bullet screens on it. He's just a child. He's just a child. Seeing this, the fake Tingyun continued to attack Bo Chang, and she chased after him like a dark ghost demanding his life. The scene was extremely horrifying. Bo Chang was still flying backwards. Although the elementary school student card helped him block the fatal attack and gave him a second of invincibility. But Bo Chang had no place to borrow strength when he flew backwards. In the previous battle with the fake Tingyun, he consumed too much physical strength, and the invisible hand was destroyed many times, and now it cannot be used. Bo Chang was like a lamb to be slaughtered. Dan Heng's pupils shrank slightly, and he knew that he had to use that forbidden power. Chapter 180 No. Brother, you are a dragon. The feeling of being hit by the fake Tingyun's punch was very subtle. If the Holy Shield is activated, completely immune to all damage, it's like watching someone punch and kick you, but it doesn't do anything. The elementary school student card is to let Bo Chang experience the feeling of death, and then force him back. Fake Tingyun punch. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I have the option of love in the starry sky. Author, Lao Cha Shugu. Chapter 146. For a moment, Bo Chang seemed to see his grandmother waving at him. The wind and thunder power in his body still remains. They wander around between muscles and bones, destroying body tissues crazily. Thanks to the 1-second invincibility of the elementary school student card, Bo Chang did not feel that kind of pain. After all the damage was declared invalid. Only after the invincibility period is over. This is also the difference between it and the Holy Shield. The elementary school student card will be released only after receiving fatal damage. Even if it is immune to attacks in the end, Bo Chang will still be more or less disturbed by the enemy's attacks. The Holy Shield is different. It is invincible for 3 seconds when it is activated. Nothing works. Bo Chang stared at the fake Tingyun who was burned by him. She was getting closer and closer. If she was caught by her, she would definitely attack like a storm. He thought to himself, is there anything that can help me now? To be honest, Bo Chang did not expect that his defeat would come so quickly. If it weren't for the elementary school student card to help block it, he would have been defeated just now. It was almost 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon when I fought with Blade. Now the Holy Shield has not been refreshed. The 10-meter flash of the teleportation ring is not enough in front of the envoy. I can only use the teleportation function. But the teleportation function is not suitable for use in battle. Compared to the flash, the speed of teleportation is slower, and there is a delay time for mutual requests. This time, Bo Chang may have been beaten by the fake Ting Yun. The teleportation ring is useless. As for Dan Heng and Seeing, Bo Chang did not put his hope on them. After all, if it weren't for Bo Chang in the front, the three of them could not stop the fake Ting Yun at all. Walter Yang and the giant dragon Bai Lu. It is estimated that seeing this scene, they can only worry. The fake Ting Yun has been controlling the blue hurricane to attack the two people. Both of them are a little busy, how can they support? Can throwing a banana peel stop her? Bo Chang thought about it and felt that the hope was very slim. Although his prop banana peel can make people fall 100%, they must step on it. Even if Bo Chang throws it out, the fake Ting Yun would definitely not step on it. The 1 second of invincibility given by the elementary school student card is too short. Is there no way now? Bo Chang's mood was very complicated. He didn't expect that after fighting for a long time, the fake Ting Yun was fine. He just didn't notice it for a moment, misjudged and took her punch. As a result, even the famous sword was used. This oncoming strength was suffocating. No. It's not that there is no way. Bo Chang's brain was working quickly. He quickly found his only life-saving straw and shouted in his heart, "System! Save me!" The giant dragon Bailu found that Bo Chang was defeated, and he was anxious and immediately planned to turn his gun to support him. This also caused the hollow water ball that blocked the battle area to begin to collapse. The fragile balance was broken. Countless blue hurricanes broke through the defense line and launched an attack on the entire Changelshan. Many houses outside collapsed at this moment. Fortunately, due to the occurrence of abnormalities, the nearby residents evacuated spontaneously, and this place was relatively remote, so there were not too many casualties. After Bai Lu lost her composure, Walter Yang could only stabilize the situation alone. The 10 pseudo-black holes shattered one after another. If this continued, Walter Yang would not be able to hold on for long. He gritted his teeth and looked at someone on the battlefield. Dan Heng had already decided to take action. Walter Yang could feel that the heavy power in the other party's body was reviving. Of course, the most important thing was that Walter Yang saw the scene of the other party's transformation. Countless water streams gathered, and a huge water dragon emerged beside him. It was hard for people not to notice this. In the end, love option did not save Bo Chang. Instead, someone unexpected appeared beside him. It was Dan Heng. The cold-faced little green dragon reached out to catch it, and pushed it out with a palm, hitting the fake Ting Yun, or the black Ting Yun, who was rushing towards him. She was burned twice. The surface of her body was more charred. Dan Heng lightly pushed out his palm, and a huge green dragon made of water flew out from his side. Fake Ting Yun collided with it and was instantly pushed back nearly 100 meters. He was soaked like a drowned chicken. Then Bai Lu's attack arrived. It was a high-energy electric current that was ejected, and the sky and the earth were white again. Fake Ting Yun had no intention of taking this attack head-on. He just floated away and retreated. Seeing, Kinkei, Sanyuki, and others looked at Dan Heng in shock. He looked different from before. His ears became pointed, his pupils turned green, and there was a pair of green dragon horns on his head. This is obviously the symbol of the chiming tribe. The giant dragon Bailu muttered in his heart. He is indeed from the chiming tribe. He tried to deceive me before, but now I have discovered it. But, why does he have dragon horns like me? Isn't that the symbol of Dragon Lord? Wait, take a closer look, he seems quite familiar, have I seen him somewhere before? Bo Chang, who was held in his arms, said blankly, no. Brother, you are a dragon. To be honest. It was quite shocking to see Dan Heng suddenly change his appearance. You're more of a dragon than I am. Dan Heng just replied calmly. Although his appearance has changed somewhat from before, the cold-faced little King Glong's character has not changed at all. After using the hidden power, only Dan Heng could clearly feel the strong dragon smell on Bo Chang's body. It's really puzzling. Dan Heng, how did he transform? And he knocked back Fake Tingyun with one palm. All this seemed a little magical to March 7th, no way, omnipotent teacher Dan Heng really has hidden power. The pink-haired girl hiding at the feet of the giant dragon Bailu holds a bow in one hand and scratches her head with the other. When fighting against an enemy of the order level like Fake Tingyun, whether it is March 7th, Zillowa, or Kinke, the help they can give is very limited. Xing and Danhan are similar. The battle just now. Almost all of them were supported by Walter Yang, Dragon Bailu, and Bo Chang. After a fierce battle, Bo Chang fell first, and Dan Heng, who was helpless, could only take the baton. Another immortal dragonborn, why are there two of them? Huanhu slowly typed out a question mark. Two dragon lords appeared on a ferry boat. Is there something wrong? You take a good rest first, then leave the rest to me. Dan Heng finished. Ba Kane was handed over to Xing, who came in a hurry, leaving only a bleak figure behind him. Chapter 181, Troubled Times. In Chen's mansion, the original peaceful atmosphere was broken again, and irritable expressions appeared on people's faces again. The commotion that broke out in Changgelshan due to the battle. General Jing Yuan naturally heard it. After all, the dragon's roar that echoed through the sky was something that no one could ignore. Has something happened again? Jing Yuan shook his head secretly. It's been such a troubled time. Can no longer sit comfortably in Chen's mansion. General Jing Yuan rushed towards Changgelshan. Being able to force Bailu into the dragon state, it must be that the enemy is not weak, so he needs to take action personally. Are they the Star Core hunters again? What are they doing? Jing Yuan felt that he couldn't see through those guys' thoughts. On the other side, Bo Chang was supported by Xing. He watched Dan Heng wave his hand, and the hollow water ball that had been broken immediately recovered. Isolate this place from the outside world again. Firmly control the leaking cyan hurricane within a certain range. After the cold-faced little Qinglong took action, Walter Yang could finally breathe a sigh of relief. His eyes began to focus on the enemy, thinking about how to continue to hold him back. Directly in front of Fake Tingyun were Dan Heng, Xing, and Bo Chang. Above and behind is Walter Yang, and the dragon Bailu and March 7 are on her left. In this battlefield that was reduced to ruins. A brief moment of peace. Dan Heng walked a few steps and then walked on the waves. I have the option of love in the starry sky. Author, Lao Cha Shugu. Chapter 147. It shows the true nature of the Dragon Lord, and everyone is stunned to see it. He didn't pay attention to the cold-faced little Qinglong who was pressing closer and closer to the fake Ningyun. Bo Chang looked around and saw that the surroundings were full of broken walls and large and small potholes. This place looked like an abandoned ancient ruin, not the Changgel Tian of the immortal boat. At this time, March 7 and Zillowa were both using the power of teleportation rings. The request is sent over. In fact, at the moment when Bo Chang was in danger, March 7, Zillowa and Xing were asking to be teleported to him, and they were asking him to be teleported to them. Only These requests were not conveyed until Bo Chang was rescued by Dan Heng. It takes about a second. It's actually quite fast, but in the previous battle, 1 second was enough to do a lot of things. The total time from Bo Chang's misjudgment to his rescue by Dan Heng was no more than 3 seconds. Everything happens in a flash of lightning. Faced with these requests, Bo Chang naturally refused them all, and the pale white light on his body had dissipated. The body is intact, but there is still the power of wind and thunder inside. Bo Chang, who was leaning against the star, coughed twice. I just feel like there is a numbness all over my body that makes me unable to work hard. Are you okay? Sing asked with a worried look on her face. She was disgraced and her current condition was actually not much better than Bo Chang's. Attacking Fake Tingyun again and again, her body was almost reaching its limit. It's okay for now. After Bo Chang finished speaking, he immediately took out the last bottle of Jim Rogers bread-flavored soda from the system space. It just took a lot of energy. Now I have to make up for it. Opening the bottle cap, Bo Chang took a swig of soda. Sing knew that this thing could restore physical strength, so he asked, Bo Chang, can you give me some soda? The romance option is turned on. Option 1, Promise Star, yes, you can drink, completion reward, get random props, ranging from matches to star destroyers. Note, such props will. Option 2, Reject Star, no, the next battle is very important, I need physical support. Completion reward, Star's Little Pearl. Note, be careful of being scolded by March 7th. This time the option pops up. It's pretty clear who to choose. As for why March 7th and others did not show any dissatisfaction, Bo Chang thought it was normal. After all, now that the situation is critical, who cares about those things? Everything must be based on the overall situation. Bo Chang agreed, okay, you can drink. Saying. Bo Chang handed out the soda that he had already drank 1/3 of. Star's eyes brightened slightly, and she took the Jim Roger bread-flavored soda. Visible to the naked eye, there was still a trace of water stains on the mouth of the plastic bottle. The gray-haired girl didn't mind it, so she lifted it up and drank. Watching the other person's red and soft lips wrap around the mouth of the bottle, Bo Chang thought to himself, is this considered an indirect kiss? Star didn't drink much soda. After a few sips, the Jim Rogers bread-flavored soda was returned to him. The rest was naturally drank by Bo Chang, including what the stars left. After Bo Chang drank it, he smashed it in his mouth. The soda water flowed in the stomach, making bubbles. At the same time, an unknown force surged out of the body. Bo Chang's physical condition is recovering rapidly. Rewards are being distributed, congratulations on getting a prop, a special bullet, which can put the hit target into a frozen state. Bullets? I remember I got a revolver before. Bo Chang thought of something. It's a pity that this kind of thermal weapon is of little use on the current battlefield. Everyone present. All have the ability to dodge bullets. Unless Bo Chang was shooting, he pretended to stand still and arrogantly, and he would have been able to hit the target. And even if the other party doesn't move, this bullet is also likely to be blocked by the strong wind around Fake Tingyun. Very good, one seat in the trash can seat. Bo Chang sighed softly in his heart. Just as he interacted with Sing, the brief peace on the battlefield was broken. Dan Heng, who was riding the waves, had no intention of talking nonsense with Fake Tingyun. After getting a little closer, Dan Heng launched a direct attack. He made a sword finger with one hand and danced randomly in the air. Countless water dragons emerged from the broken ground and attacked Fake Tingyun, causing her to toss and turn in this hollow water ball with a diameter of 1,000 meters. A cyan hurricane rises from the ground. Countless tornadoes formed and began to wreak havoc on the battlefield, destroying everything in sight along the way. Originally, These Saiyan hurricanes were supposed to be solved by the giant dragon Bailu and Walter Yang. But after the big Lolita of the dragon clan went into chaos, Walter Yang was alone. Even if Dan Heng stepped in to strengthen the defense in the end, it also cannot prevent Saiyan Hurricane from forming more powerful moves. There were only 6 pseudo-black holes left around Walter Yang. His containment ability was greatly reduced, and he could only watch countless Saiyan tornadoes and water dragons wreaking havoc on the battlefield. Uncle Yang thought, I hope Jingyuan can come soon. I thought about it for a while. Walter Yang increased his output, causing the surrounding gravity to become chaotic. At the same time, he resisted the blue tornado that attacked him from time to time. The battle range of Fake Tingyun and Danhan was quite large. They were both long-range mages, and they fought each other at a distance of 100 meters. Bakang and others suffered an unexpected disaster. The two of them hurriedly used the teleportation function of the teleportation ring to rush to the feet of the giant dragon Bailu and reunite with Sanyuki, Zillowa, and Kinkei. Of course. This time, Xing's teleportation ring was used. Bakang's energy was still preserved and had not been used. Chapter 182 Farewell Gift, Reward Plus Update. The battle in the sky has spread to the ground. Bakang and Xing can only run away quickly to avoid being entangled by the blue tornado and falling into an endless battle. After all, the condition of the two is not very good now. Hey, Bakang, are you okay? Fake Tingyun's punch just now seemed to be very powerful. Your clothes were all punched through. Sanyuki saw Bakang being teleported back by Xing. He couldn't help but ask with concern. Don't worry, I'm fine, I just used a small prop to push it over. Bo Chang shook his head gently. Sanyuki crossed his arms and said, you have so many small props. 11 Lu Wa and Ching Ke also nodded. Seeing Bo Chang in danger, the Mahjong girl even thought that he was going to be beaten to death. Unexpectedly, he actually withstood a punch. With Dan Heng's timely action, the tragedy was avoided. Sanyuki continued, the prop you just used is also quite interesting, it can even make subtitles appear on your body, saying that you are just a child, as if everyone is not a child. Everyone hiding under Bailu's feet. Now they can take a break from their busy schedule. Even if a blue tornado rushes over, it will be stopped by the giant dragon Bailu. Now that Bo Chang is safe, she has resumed her work, sharing some of the pressure on Walter Yang and Dan Heng. Kinkei said as he drew cards, Sanyu, don't go and chat with them, come and help. Although the strength of Sanyuki and others is not worth mentioning in the eyes of Fake Tingyun, but it is still possible to harass them from the side. Seeing this, Sanyuki said, I know, don't worry, I'll come right over. Kinkei continued to draw cards. Listening - don't panic, come on. Why haven't you drawn it yet? Bakang couldn't help but hold his forehead with one hand. In the battle just now, Kinkei's number of attacks can be counted on one hand. The attack frequency is much worse than that of Sanyuki, Zillowa, and others. But Bakang and others didn't put their hopes of fighting on her, so they didn't care at all. Kinkei can output as much as she can, and no one will blame her even if she hides her head and defends. As the battle time goes on, Huanlong is getting more and more anxious. I have the option of love in the starry sky. Author, Lao Cha Shugu. Chapter 148. I just defeated Bo Chang, why did another one emerge that was even more fierce? Huanlu and Dan Heng passed a few moves, and then said, okay, very good, the strength of all the benefactors is indeed good, and they can actually force the little girl to look like this. Stop talking nonsense and let's capture him quickly. Dan Heng spoke indifferently, and he casually slapped 1,000 waves and pressed them towards the fake Ningyun. Before Huan Hao could finish his words, he was forced to fight again. She pushed with both hands, and the green tornadoes around her gathered together and collided with the endless waves? Boom! Two different and powerful forces collided, causing the earth to suddenly crack, like a watermelon being split open. Bottomless cracks spread outward. Walter Yang and the giant dragon Bailu were completely unable to control the situation. The cracks headed towards the outside of the huge hollow water ball. In just a few seconds, almost half of Changelshan was cracked, and a strong earthquake swept through the entire cave. As a result, many houses collapsed, leaving the scene in a mess. Because the incident happened suddenly, many people still don't know what happened now. They couldn't continue to play cards leisurely. Are you still playing cards at this time? Don't be afraid. Under the guidance of the Yunkai army, a large number of residents fled Changelshan. And at this moment, but two girls came to Changelshan on the Xingcha. They were beautiful and gorgeously dressed. What's different from others is, others were anxious to leave Changelshan, but they were eager to enter. Yunkihun noticed these two strangers. I originally wanted to persuade them to leave, but in the end I just blinked. The two strange and beautiful girls disappeared in the crowd. I don't know where I went. If Bo Chang and others saw it, they would definitely be able to recognize the two girls who were incompatible with others at a glance. Black Tower and Esta. The webmaster and acting webmaster of the space station all came to Luofu Xianzhou. Naturally, they came here for Bo Chang. As a result, before they could find each other, they saw the chaotic scene of Chang Leshan first. Did a star core actually cause the Luofu immortal boat to be in such chaos? Esta sighed with emotion. Black Tower said, where there are star core hunters, it is not surprising that strange things happen. What's more, there is more than just a star core here. I have already felt the fluctuations of the destruction order. It seems that a certain king is eyeing Luofu. Lord of Extermination? No way. Esta looked surprised. Haida nodded, her expression unchanged. If my feeling is correct, someone is fighting the Lord of Extinction in the water ball over there. The hollow water balloon is semicircular. Fully 500 meters high. This thing is very conspicuous in Changelshan. You can see it as long as you look up. With just one glance, Black Tower knew that the hollow water ball was to control the scope of the battle and prevent the aftermath from affecting other places. Otherwise, Chang Leshan must have been beaten to death. It's indeed interesting. Haida touched her chin. Then she raised her head and glanced at Esta. I'll take the first step. You can wait for me outside Changle Tianwai. The next journey. Black Tower is not going to take Esta with him. After all, her steps were too slow, and taking Esta with her would only delay the Black Tower. Okay, Ms. Haida, I will wait for your safe return outside Changle Tianwai. Esta lowered her eyebrows and had no objection. Haida had no intention of talking nonsense anymore. She disappeared instantly like a gust of wind. On the way, Black Tower also saw the dead building trees growing and sprouting again. The sky and the sun covered nearly one-third of the Luofu immortal boat. The battle continues inside the giant hollow water balloon. As Walter Young and the dragon Bailu failed to succeed, the focus of the battle began to shift from the sky to the land. The scene became more and more frightening. The huge waves hundreds of meters high collided passionately with the blue tornado that dominated the world, causing the earth to continuously tear apart. Bo Chang and others almost had no place to stand and could only stand on the back of the giant dragon Bailu. Come and taste the power of this girl. March 7th, who was on the dragon's back, jumped up and shot his strongest arrow at Fake Ting Yun. Unfortunately, after defeating a green tornado, he was unable to continue. The pink-haired girl's attacks couldn't even get close to the enemy, let alone hurt her. While resting, Bo Chang injected the magic power of the dragon talisman into the giant dragon Bailu so that it could maintain its dragon form. A big dragon Lolita who is infused with power. It was like a chicken blood was injected, and it made a clear and loud dragon roar. No. We can't go on like this. I still have my power left to create a new body. Realizing that it would be difficult to defeat them in a short period of time, Genmue. The thought of quitting came into my mind. After reaching this point, Huanlong knew that he couldn't leave in despair, so he said, "Haha, dear benefactors, I still have things to deal with, so I won't play with you anymore. Finally, let me give my benefactors a farewell gift." Fake Tingyun raised one hand, and she pulled a meteorite with a diameter of several kilometers from an unknown place to fall. The powerful force instantly tore the hollow water ball apart. Everyone's pupils trembled when they saw it. Chapter 183, Hanging Stars and Broken Moon. The giant dragon Bailu flapped its wings and stopped in midair. Bakane, Sanyuki, and others on the dragon's back stared blankly at the sky. When the meteorite was pulled to the Luofu immortal boat. Although it was still far away from everyone. But it still gave everyone a great sense of oppression. Bakane could even feel a huge gravitational force coming from high altitude, as if it was going to suck him away. This was not an ordinary meteorite. Bakane, who had good eyesight, could see it clearly. The surface of the meteorite, which glowed brightly due to the high temperature, was inlaid with countless Antimatter Legion soldiers in different postures, and even anti-celestial weapons such as Doomsday Beast. And some huge monsters that could not be named, which looked stronger than Doomsday Beast. They were all dead, and they could not rest in peace after death. They were made into a meteorite by the Lord of Extinction. The destructive power contained in it was so much that it was terrifying. Walter Yang had no confidence that he could block this attack. The same goes for Dan Heng. If he had all the power he had during the Dragon Lord period, he could certainly block it. But the current cold-faced little blue dragon is not as strong as it was in its heyday. After all, some of the power has been inherited by the new Dragon Lord, Bai Lu. The current Dan Heng is far less powerful than before. Or it is not as powerful as the Yin Yu Jun in the previous life. Huanlong enjoyed their expressions and said, "My benefactors, the gift has been delivered, and I will go first." After saying this, the fake Tingyun twisted her head to the side and she committed suicide directly. Her body fell from the sky powerlessly and slowly dissipated in the process. It was like a bubble in a dream. Bo Chang and others could only see a blue flame escaping into the distance. No one had time to deal with it, but looked at the meteorite falling from the sky with a serious face. The fake Tingyun called this thing a gift. To be honest, it is indeed a gift. After all, this meteorite was extracted after Huanlong destroyed a certain civilization, sacrificed the entire planet and the antimatter army that died in the battle. If you are lucky enough, maybe you can find the rare objects left by other civilizations on it. Huanlong had no intention of staying here at all. He left the meteorite in a hurry. The secret of the King of Medicine successfully put the star core into the location of Jianmu. Make it grow and sprout. Next, Huanlong will go to fabricate his new body. As long as he gets a bigger and more powerful body, these people will be nothing more than ants. What's more, Bo Chang and others may not be able to withstand this attack. Although among Huanlong's treasures, this meteorite can only be regarded as medium-sized, but it is completely enough to destroy a vibrant planet. Even if Luofu Xianzhou takes this attack, it will suffer huge losses. This move also has a good name, called Hanging Stars and Broken Moon. Bo Chang and others naturally don't know the name of this move. They only know that they are in big trouble now. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I have the option of Love in the Starry Sky. Author, Lao Cha Shugu. Chapter 149. What should I do? Should I teleport and run away? Bo Chang thought in his heart. There is still some time before the meteorite falls. It was enough for Bo Chang to activate the teleportation ring and escape to Yali 6. As long as Pella works hard and responds to requests in time, he can stay away from this place of right and wrong without any harm. March 7, Singh and Chilava, they can also be teleported together. And everyone can bring someone with them. If there are no accidents, theoretically they can all escape. Except for Pascal and Sophia, after all, they are not around, so there is really nothing they can do. Walter Young didn't want to escape, he knew that if he didn't take action, Changelshan will be destroyed. There are still many innocent Xianzhou people here who have not had time to evacuate. To know. The caves on the Luofu Immortal boat are of different sizes and shapes. Space folding technology is used, and many large caves are almost equivalent to a planet. In a prosperous neighborhood like Changelshan, the population density is even more astonishing. If Walter Young doesn't care, the Immortal boat people will suffer heavy casualties. Dan Heng and Walter Yang looked at each other, and in tacit understanding, they flew up and launched their strongest offensive towards the falling meteorite. Even if you can't stop it, you have to give it a try. At the very least, we need to buy a little more time to let the innocent citizens of Changelshan leave this place. The two of them left only one sentence. You go first, leave this place to us. On March 7, he quickly added shields to them. He looked up at the meteorite getting closer and closer to the ground. Bai Lu wanted to retreat and said, Bo Chang, what should we do now, or let's run away first. Relying on the current dragon form, Bai Lu is confident that she can leave before the meteorite falls. He might not be able to escape far before being injured by the aftermath. That would be much better than being hit head-on by a meteorite. The romance option is turned on. Option 1, faced with such an attack, what are you doing if you don't run? Let Walter Yang and Dan Heng do the heroic thing. Please reply, okay, Bai Lu, let's go. Completion reward, obtain skills, cowardice and strength will gradually weaken over time once you get into a hard battle. Option 2, run for whatever reason. If it is a man, rush up and say, you go first, I will help Dan Heng and Uncle Yang stop the meteorite. Completion reward, you can randomly obtain the power of one of the 12 talismans. Option 3, the more dangerous it is, the more calm you have to be. Please comfort Bai Lu and say, don't panic, Bai Lu. Trust Uncle Yang and Dan Heng. As long as they think there is a chance to stop the meteorite, then let's go and help together. Completion reward, obtain random props, ranging from matches to star destroyers. Note, such props will see option 2. Bo Chang sighed softly in his heart and said, since ancient times, no one has ever died. It may be lighter than a feather, or heavier than Mount Tai. Anyway, Uncle Yang and Dan Heng are in front, so I don't have to worry too much. The black-haired boy was doing some ideological work for himself in his mind. Isn't it just a meteorite? Don't panic. Just do it and it will be done. Option 2. Bo Chang made his decision and said, you go first, I will help Dan Heng and Uncle Yang stop the meteorite. Are you kidding me? That's not something we can interfere with. Silva was anxious. March Chi and Seem thought about it and thought it was right, so they started to persuade him. We think it's best to leave this place to the almighty teacher Dan Heng and Uncle Yang. You're already weak, so don't cause trouble. Bo Chang, is this too dangerous? At this time, King K reacted. Don't talk anymore, let's run quickly. If we don't run, it will be too late. The Mahjong girl is still young and she doesn't want to die yet. Bai Lu wandered wildly between running and not running. For a while, I couldn't make up my mind at all. Now it's all up to Bo Chang. But there was no sign of the system sounding at all. Bo Chang knew that he had to rush forward to intercept the meteorite, otherwise he would not be able to get the reward. I have made up my mind, you don't need to persuade me anymore. Chapter 184 Jellyfish Meteorite. Facing the eyes of March 7, Seeing and others. Bo Chang patted the sword box behind him and said, "Unsheath it." The cyber flying sword flew out with a swipe, and the sword, exuding a cold and stern temperament, was quietly suspended in the air, waiting for the next order. Bo Chang stretched out his hand and grabbed the hilt of the sword directly. "I'm going to take the first step, flying the cyber flying sword upwards. There is no chance for everyone to save themselves." Bo Chang and the cyber flying sword flew upward together, facing the falling meteorite. Although there is still a long way to go. But Bo Chang could really feel the hot temperature. What should we do now? Use dragon explosion. Face this meteorite. Bo Chang could only think of using dragon explosion to attack the opponent. The power of other spells seems to be of little use. Wait, can I use the monkey charm and try to turn it into a smaller statue? In this situation where the powerful enemy basically has a shield, the magic power of the monkey charm is rarely used. It's not like Bo Chang has never thought about turning himself into a powerful creature, such as a dragon. It's a pity that the mythical creatures. It's not something that Bo Chang can transform with the monkey spell. He can only transform some ordinary animals like cats and dogs, or sparrows and elephants. Dragon. Not for the time being. Perhaps Bo Chang needs to study the body structure of the dragon. After a period of hard study, he can master the difficult technique of turning into a dragon. In fact, the research object has been found. Bai Lu can't escape, Bo Chang just lacks time. There is too much power integrated in his body. Bo Chang hasn't even fully developed the power of the dragon spell, he has just learned the fire lotus for close range, and has no time to study the monkey spell. Facing a powerful enemy. The monkey spell is not very useful now, but when facing the meteorite, maybe it will work. Thinking of this, Bo Chang stimulated the magic of the monkey spell and wanted to turn the meteorite into a jellyfish. Anyway, the power of the monkey spell can also work when facing dead objects, so why not give it a try? As long as it can be successfully transformed from a round shape into a statue of a jellyfish. Nothing else to say. The air resistance alone is enough to slow down the falling speed of the meteorite. After all, the jellyfish is shaped like a parachute. Seeing Ba Kane leave, King K interrupted and said, "Well, can we run away?" "No, X4. Seeing, Bailu, Sanyuki, and Zillawa refused in unison. At this moment, they were unexpectedly united. Seeing said, "Sanyu, add a shield to Ba Kane, Bailu, you quickly attack the meteorite." The gray-haired girl began to command everyone. The giant dragon Bailu raised her head, and with the fiery red meteorite reflected in her eyes, she said firmly, "Leave it to me with confidence." The ferocious dragon mouth opened. There was a white electric light brewing inside. The giant dragon Bailu squeezed her own strength frantically, wanting to use the strongest blow to help everyone. This made Walter Yang and Danhan look sideways. To be honest, the giant dragon Bailu is very powerful, but she is like a child with a treasure mountain, but she doesn't know how to use it. Until now. The giant dragon Bailu finally got the hoe. The meteorite continued to fall, and because of its luminous properties, the entire Changelshan was dyed with a layer of red clouds. Walter Yang, Danhan, Ba Kane, and others were covered in the glow of the clouds. They rushed straight to the meteorite. Their figures were deeply engraved in the minds of the people who fled for their lives. They could not forget them for a long time. Some people even stopped and stared at the sky blankly. Changelshan is a prosperous street in Luofu. The security force is naturally sufficient. But who would have thought that the enemy they would face was a huge meteorite falling from the sky? And the destructive power of this meteorite. It was so heavy that it seemed to crush people. As long as anyone who has opened his destiny can feel it, it is not something that ordinary people can stop. The cloud cavalry who evacuated the crowd looked at the sky. I have the option of love in the starry sky. Author, Lao Cha Shugu. Chapter 150. The sight of falling meteorites is despairing. Everyone can even feel the strong gravity pulling them up into the sky. In fact, there are already a lot of lighter things around that have been sucked up. They flew towards the meteorite uniformly. It gives people a ridiculous and indistinguishable illusion of heaven and earth. Walter Young had no time to care about other things. He raised the Star of Eden and made several simulated black hole tops, trying to prevent the meteorites from continuing to fall. Dan Hung set off a huge wave thousands of meters high, forming a blue dragon to attack the meteorite. Bo Chang took the lead in using the power of the monkey charm. The meteorite, which never dodges, was indeed hit. It changed from a round shape to a jellyfish statue, but it was different from what he imagined. It hasn't gotten smaller. On the contrary, it seems to have become larger, with the diameter changing from several thousand meters to tens of thousands of meters. But the falling speed of this meteorite has indeed slowed down a lot. As we all know, a sphere has the greatest volume for the same surface area. So after the meteorite changed from a spherical shape to a jellyfish statue, it's normal for your body to appear larger. Bo Chang realized something and thought to himself, is it because the destructive power on the meteorite is too strong, so I can't interfere with the mass, or is it because when facing dead objects, the power of the monkey charm cannot reduce the mass? It's also possible that I did reduce the mass, but I just can't see it. The questions in my mind cannot be answered for the time being. Anyway, Bo Chang knew that he did not increase the mass of the meteorite or increase the power of hanging star broken moon, but made it slower and weaker. That's enough. The next second, Bo Chang only felt a sense of dizziness coming from his brain. He knew that it was caused by him forcibly turning the meteorite into a jellyfish statue and consuming too much power of the monkey charm. Fortunately, this power of transformation is not as violent as the magic power of the dragon talisman. Otherwise, if this attack continues, Bo Chang may have collapsed directly due to lack of physical strength. Walter Yang and Dan Hung saw changes in the meteorite. It can be guessed that it was Bo Chang's move. Good job. The two of them thought in their hearts. The falling speed of meteorites has slowed down, which everyone can intuitively feel. Naturally, no one would blame Bo Chang. Next, high-energy currents that resemble black holes, water dragons, and giant dragon Bailu. Three different powerful forces hit the jellyfish meteorite. In an instant, the jellyfish meteorite stopped and did not continue to fall. It is precisely because of this wave of collision. The powerful shock wave spread in all directions. There were also some jellyfish meteorites that had their tentacles destroyed and were thrown towards some lucky people. Bo Chang, who continued to fly upward, was unable to move forward due to the strong wind. Fortunately, March 7th's shield fell on him in time. Only then could Bo Chang open his eyes. Otherwise it will be too windy. Chapter 185. Such a big diamond, reward for more updates. There were a lot of jellyfish meteorite tentacles falling from the sky, like a meteor shower. Bo Chang could only control the cyber flying sword to dodge. Prevent yourself from being hit. In addition to voice operation, there are also many other functions that can be used to operate the system. Bo Chang only had to turn the ball with his hands. The cyber flying sword can make corresponding actions, which is very convenient. As for the scattered jellyfish meteorite tentacles that fell, nothing to worry about. The Yunkai army is not just a freeloader. They have a way to deal with most of the small meteorites that fall. As for what hasn't been resolved, then you can only ask for blessings. In the face of a powerful enemy, Bo Chang and others can't do much. Now Walter Yang joined forces with Dan Hung and the giant dragon Bailu, and the three of them blocked the meteorite impact that had been weakened by Bo Chang. But this is not enough. Because after a pause, the jellyfish meteorite continued to fall downwards, and its speed was gradually accelerating. High-energy currents that resemble black holes, water dragons, and giant dragon bala continue to interact with each other. But it can only delay the attack, but cannot stop the jellyfish meteorite full of destructive power. After all, this thing is no ordinary meteorite. The destructive power within it is constantly providing kinetic energy. This move can almost be called the full blow of the Lord of Extermination, and it is very powerful. Bo Chang operated the cyber flying sword and came to Walter Yang's side, saying, "Uncle Yang, next I want to use Dragon Explosion to see if I can destroy the meteorite." "Well, then you give it a try and I will catch you." Walter Yang nodded. When General Jing Yuan didn't arrive for a long time, Walter Yang could only place his hope on Bo Chang. "Anyway, I'm fascinated by this guy's strength, he might really be able to help a lot." What's more, Bo Chang had already helped once. Very useful indeed. The speed of the jellyfish meteorite has dropped by more than one step. Make it easier for everyone to block. But just when Bo Chang was about to take action, a familiar clear female voice came from a distance. "Such a big diamond, for you." Bo Chang turned his head and looked in surprise. He saw a purple diamond with a diameter of more than 100 meters hitting the jellyfish meteorite so fast that it ignited fire. And further away, the black tower holding a black sledgehammer is suspended in mid-air. Her eyes were not on the jellyfish meteorite, but on Bo Chang with interest. The two looked at each other. "Ah! Why did the black tower come here?" Bo Chang was momentarily confused. But the other party came just in time. Bo Chang remembered that Haida was also an envoy of the star god, so he thought that she would definitely be able to stop this jellyfish meteorite. To relieve everyone of this huge worry, things were just as Bo Chang expected. The huge purple diamond hit from the side and easily defeated the jellyfish meteorite, causing it to break into various irregular shapes and fall towards Changelshan. As Bo Chang watched, the jellyfish meteorite exploded. The Cloud Cavalry Army. It also split directly at this moment. Although everyone has the means to attack remotely. But there were too many small pieces of meteorites falling, and they couldn't be stopped at all. Fortunately, General Jing Yuan from Luofu Immortal Boat arrived in time. Hear a noise on the other side. Bo Chang saw Jing Yuan standing in the air, and the golden divine king behind him that seemed to be 1,000 meters high. "Huang Huang Weiling, obey my order." General Yunkai is glowing with golden light. At this moment, he looked like a god. He raised the Anu sword in his hand from a long distance away, and then slashed down hard. Including the divine king also made the same move. Behead without mercy. With a sweeping sweep of the sword, no matter how many meteorites were in front of them, they were chopped into pieces by the Divine Lord and turned into dust. The turbulent golden sword light calmed down almost half of the clouds on the Luofu Immortal Boat. Certainly. This is also because Bo Chang, Haida, and others took action to block the meteorite first. Otherwise, General Jing Yuan would not have been able to get rid of him so easily. Crisis resolved. The system prompt sounds. Rewards are being distributed. Congratulations on gaining the power of the horse talisman. Horse charm. I want a dog charm. Can you give me a dog charm, or a cow charm or a rabbit charm? Bo Chang muttered in his heart.